the RTM to order, and we'll start with the roll call. Town Clerk, can you take the roll call, please?
Yes. Adams?
Here.
Bailey?
Here.
Baker?
Here.
Casper?
Yo.
Kasari?
Here.
Chase?
Here.
Cologne?
No, Cologne, Albert's no longer on the RTM.
Oh, nobody told me. Yikes. I didn't get a resignation from him either. Okay, Crockett Hubbard? Dean Shinbrot?
Here.
DeSiller Fleming?
Here.
Fitzgerald?
Here.
Flax?
Here.
Fortner?
Here.
Foster?
Here.
Frickman? I see you. David Gauthier?
Here.
Lauren Gauthier?
Here.
Jim Gustafson? I know he's going to be late. Sue Haling?
Here.
Hanscom?
He was going to be late, too.
Yep. Jones?
Here.
Kotowski's not here. Lux not here. Mello Miller?
Here.
Merritt? I don't see him. Merritt? Okay. Perry? Powers? Kristen?
Here.
Powers? Sean?
Here.
Okay. Richards?
Here.
Jason Rusk?
Here.
Jill Rusk?
Here.
Sharkey?
Here.
Stevenson?
Here.
Thomas?
Here.
Washington?
Here.
Watson?
Here.
Wells?
Here.
Whitehouse?
Here.
Whitney?
Here.
And Evan, you have 31. You have 31.
I'm here. You can hear the sound of the bar behind me.
Okay. I'm going to ask you guys to keep your thing on mute unless you're speaking. That will get rid of the sound of the bar.
Frickman is here.
Thank you, Tom. 32?
I guess they noticed. They're asking people to keep it on mute unless they're speaking.
32, is that right, Betsy? All right, I believe we have 32 members here because Representative Frickman has arrived. I'm going to start with a moment of silence. I think there are many reasons why we might want to have this, and so we're going to have that, and then we'll follow with the salute to the flag. Representative Cassieri, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty,
and justice for all.
Thank you. Hey, we're getting much better at that, so thank you. The next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to put them on the floor?
So moved.
And that was
Second.
Representative Chase, and that was a second by, say your name.
Adams.
Representative Adams, thank you. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes of our September 9th meeting. Is there any discussion on those minutes?
I find, this is Karen Adams. I have two corrections.
Please.
Okay, under section E, reception of communications, third line, town manager Burt responded by stated. It should be stating.
Thank you.
That's on page 2. And on page 3, under monthly briefing, the second line typo, it should be opening. There's an extra IN in there.
Okay. Town Clerk McCowsher, do you see those items?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Representative Adams. I'd love to send you my minutes for
You're most welcome.
eagle-eyeing.
Is there any other feedback on the minutes? And I just want to remind you, if you want to speak, you can open up the participant, and then at the very bottom, there's a raise hand tab, okay? So that's how you do it. And then I can see you, because it's very hard for me to see who's talking otherwise. So seeing no other comments on those minutes, we have a motion on the floor made by Representative Foster, seconded by Representative Adams, to approve the minutes of our September 9th meeting. All in favor, please say aye. Oh,
Aye.
aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye. Dean Shinbrot.
Okay, is that a opposing or abstention?
For Dean Shinbrot's abstention.
Thank you. So,
Is abstention, both powers.
okay. So we have 3 abstentions. So those minutes pass, I believe, 29 in favor, 0 opposed, 3 abstentions. Is that correct, Town Clerk McCowsher?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Representative Bailey, I saw in the midst of this that your hand was raised. Would you like to speak?
Yes, Madam Moderator, thank you very much. I have a request that the current rules of the 32nd RTM posted on the town website to be revised with this a passing of the minutes for last month, 9 September 2020, to be reflected in the 32nd rules of the RTM on the town website. If that request could be made to the town clerk, please.
Thank you. That's a great point. Town Clerk McCowsher, if we could get the updated minutes that reflect our new student positions.
You mean put the rules on the website?
Yeah, the revised rules, it sounds like.
Yep. I'll make sure that gets done. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the part of the meeting where the RTM agenda, where the RTM welcomes comments from citizens. Each presentation should be limited to 4 minutes, and citizens should submit written comments if possible. Presentation of matters is limited to those that are pertinent to Groton, and either I or members through myself shall ask questions only in order to clarify the speaker's presentation. Responses may be given by myself or the town manager. Citizens should state their name and address for the record. I don't see that anyone is here. Is there anyone that you expected to, any requests for speaking before this body tonight?
I didn't receive any requests.
Thank you. Okay, so reception of communications. I did receive emails from Representative Gustafson and Hanscom that they would be late and Representative Luck would not be attending. Did anyone else receive communications they wish to relay?
Representative Potowski also will not be attending.
Okay. Any other communications people would like to relay? No. Okay, thank you. Is the town manager here with us tonight?
I am.
Oh, would you like to do your report? Sorry, I didn't see you.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Starting with the financials, the preliminary fund balance as of June 30th, 2020, unaudited, is approximately 27 million, which is 21% of the FYE 2020 general fund adopted budget. The general contingency budget for 21 was appropriated at 350,000. The capital reserve fund balance as of June 30th is estimated at 1.6 million. One thing of note is, of course, there's the item for the Board of Ed, the 12,500 that you'll be discussing tonight that could affect that balance. In terms of report, I don't have a lot tonight, but just hopefully everyone's been getting the COVID updates I've been forwarding. If you haven't, please get your email to me, address to me, so I can get you added on, but every Friday, usually on Fridays, the Legislite sends out a COVID report, and I've been forwarding it to the town council and the RTM. So if you haven't got it, please let me know. Groton, the number of COVID cases on 10/2, they were 204, and last Friday, 10/9, they went up by 18 to 222. We had one more death this last week in Groton, making a total of 28 due to COVID. And in terms of the entire health district, the Legislite Health District, they went up by 180 over that last week, from 1,206 to 1,386. And as you know, New London has been getting hit pretty hard. The plastics ban, the ordinance for plastics and styrofoam, that went into effect on October 5th, so it is finally in effect. So far, we haven't had anyone report anyone not complying, but it's early days. Dr. Graner is here, so I won't hit on this. So just a couple quick things on school construction. The middle school punch list will be done by the end of the month, except for two items. One is kind of a late added special needs bus drop off or drop off generally, and then an entrance sign, which requires a variance. So it'll take a little while to get that sign. And then Dr. Graner and I and a couple others attended a topping off ceremony at Cutler Elementary School today, meaning placement of the last steel beam. So that was pretty neat. And then I received a request for Tanglewood Park to allow small watercraft in there. It used to be allowed until about 2008. Some neighbors there asked if we would reopen it. I've asked the Parks and Rec Commission to review it and make a recommendation to me. I think they're meeting tonight on that. And then the town's website is scheduled to go live the first week of November. Been a long time coming, so I'm eager to see that up and running. It should be easier to get information updated on the website. And that's what I have, and I'm here for any questions. Oh, and just to mention, next month, Paige Bronk and John Reiner will be joining me to do an economic development update.
Thank you, Mr. Burt. Are there any questions? Representative Adams?
My question, my comment is not a question to Mr. Burt. I just spoke with Representative Hubbard, and she's having problems, which is why she's not attending. Problems getting on is to be able to attend the meeting, so that's why she's not here.
Thank you.
And just to mention it, sorry, just to mention, I did just send out my written report to the RTM members.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Burt? All right. Well, thank you very much. And I do appreciate the weekly Legislite COVID updates that you're passing on to us. So thank you for that. And anyway, I'm just curious, I guess.
Moderator Ebbin, I'm sorry, can I ask?
I'm asking a question myself, but I'll call on you in a second.
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure you saw my hand.
Yep. I just wanted to ask Mr. Burt if the COVID has impacted town staff, if you have a percentage of staff who are infected and thus quarantining.
I think there's been 3 over the last couple of weeks, and then a few others that have had to quarantine. We've been more impacted this last month than we did at all in the spring. In the spring, it seemed to be a lot more people in care facilities, older people. It seems if you look at the ages, the spread of ages, it's all over the place this time. It's hitting all kinds of people.
Yeah, I'm teaching, and I actually have 2 of my my TA and one of my students who have been exposed. So thank you for that. Representative Mello Miller?
Yes, thank you. And it was of similar regard. Considering these latest cases at the schools, we just got another notification about a half hour ago, which I really appreciate. And thank you so much for sending out the emails with the statistics every week. Are you still finding that you're able to still support all of these new cases that are coming in from a town level? Is the town still functioning in terms of, I'm trying to think of exactly what I'm trying to say, so I apologize if it sounds a bit spotty, but are we still able to maintain town services at the utmost level, considering that we are getting all these cases in with the schools and et cetera?
I won't speak for the schools, of course. Dr. Graner is here to talk tonight, but for the most part, it's been good. We've got some pretty good safety precautions in place. There was some impact, and I don't know if Betsy may want to speak to this, but there was some impact with voter registration and some impact to her office. But we powered, everything powered through. She runs a great office, and people pitched in and got absentee ballots out. I had a worry. So we had one in the police department, and you start looking and you think, oh, there's 9 possible other people who might have to quarantine. But as you look at it further, it really came down to people weren't quite exposed long enough, though we're closely monitoring it and staying in touch with Ledgelight. But it looks like we're okay there. And we have been taking, a lot of our staff have been taking advantage of those free testing sites. I know quite a few people went last weekend to get tested, and there was another one at the senior center today.
Do you expect the cases to go up throughout the fall and winter, considering what you've seen from a town level?
I'm not a health expert, but that's my feeling. I was surprised the state went to the phase 3. I wouldn't be shocked to see later that you have to dial it back a little bit, but we'll see.
Thank you, Mr. Burt. Is there any other questions? Any other comments? If not, we're going to move on to Dr. Graner in the superintendent's report.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you.
Great. Well, needless to say, we've been spending a great deal of time on the COVID cases. The procedure basically is either the individuals tell us they've tested positive, or Ledgelight Health District notifies us, and then we essentially work with Ledgelight to do the contact tracing. We actually usually reach out to all the individuals who were involved. So, as I think you know, on Sunday, the 5th of October, we had a significant case, an individual who was exposed to lots of people in the building. So we actually shut down the in-person instruction for 2 weeks so that we could do the contact tracing, meaning everyone who was within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes with the person. Shortly, a couple hours later, we also learned that there was an individual at Colchester who tested positive, but that exposure was far less complex. And so we were able to do all the contact tracing in 2 days. So we shifted to for 2 days for the remote learning. And then on that next Monday, we had another case of a person at Northeast Academy. But in that case, fortunately, the person had not been in the building for the period of time when they were infectious, which is essentially 48 hours, either before a test or before being showing symptoms, the onset of symptoms. But today we ran into 3 cases. I just sent out another notification about a half hour ago. Groton Middle School, Catherine Kolnowski and SB Butler. Again, in all of those cases, we are reaching out almost immediately, if not immediately. So what we like to notify people is that we have completed the contact tracing. It can be done, if it's limited, in a couple of hours. So by the time we're telling people that there's another case, I often can say in the message that anyone who was a potential contact has already been notified by us. So that's going on, and that is certainly consuming a huge amount of time for the schools that are affected, and for the for the central office. But I'd be happy to answer questions.
Representative Frickman?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Moderator. Thank you, Dr. Graner. First of all, I just want to say I really appreciate everything you guys are doing. So I had a quick question in regards to is there a timeline in regards to
a week
when our kids get to go back full time? Because I know that from what we're experiencing and from a lot of people are experiencing, the K through 8 at the hybrid model, it's a struggle for our kids. And I was wondering what the timeline is for a full back in for at least some seat time or class time with those teachers for those younger kids.
Yeah, it's a good question. The board and I are working with Ledgelight. We're trying to put some metrics together, Tom. One of the things, obviously, we want to see a reduction in the spread of the virus, and the way things have gone the last 2 weeks, it has not been exactly a good experience. But I think by the end of the month, the board and I will take a look at the information. We're working closely with Steve Mansfield from Ledgelight. There is, as you probably know, some idea about not going full in with the buildings that have 1,000 children in the high school and the middle school. Some districts are taking their elementary schools and going full. And as you say, the hybrid instruction for young children really is adult intensive, and so we're concerned with that. And of course, we're working to provide the hybrid and full distance, because obviously 25% of our kids are always on remote learning. And we did a survey, and we talked about the preliminary results last evening. I'll make sure that the full survey, I think we had 540 something parents respond, and about 300 staff members. We're using those data to make the decision as well, Tom.
Okay, thank you. Because I guess our big concern has been and with the hybrid, with the amount of time they get to see in front of a teacher, some in some classes, for example, and he's in 6th grade, and they've only seen the teacher 3 times since September. So that
Yeah, I know. It's extremely frustrating. And I talk to parents at the primary level and upper elementary and middle and high school, but I think you're right. The older the children, the better, the more independent the learning can be, and we're trying to make sure that the hybrid program is sustainable. And if we could go back full, I think we would have a lot of very, very happy teachers and kids.
Thank you, Dr. Graner.
You're welcome. The other thing, I'll just highlight what John said. The middle school has a couple of things. By midweek next week, the gymnasium 4, I know it's been installed and is being sealed. We believe we'll have full access to that. The big hit has been, and if you haven't seen the athletic fields, I'd encourage you to take a look at them. The synthetic surface field is truly amazing, and the kids are having a great time with playing field hockey. I know the high school kids are. And John mentioned we went to a wonderful ceremony today to put the last beam on top of the elementary school that will be opened at Cutler, on the Cutler site. And so when we open that school on September 1st of next year, Groton will become then a 100% magnet intra-district elementary district. That's to say, any child from any neighborhood can go to any school in the town of Groton at the elementary level. So that is a an amazing feat. All the construction work that's going on unabated through this pandemic. It's really quite remarkable. And then the last thing I'll mention is that we had a visit from the Martin Luther King Scholar Committee, and 5 of our seniors received a $20,000 each scholarship. So in 1 week, the MLK Scholarship Committee awarded $100,000 to some really deserving students at the high school, which was an absolute delight to observe. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, Moderator Ebbin.
Sure. Well, I just want to say congratulations. That's really amazing news, and I hope we get to read about it in the New London Day.
Yeah, there's going to be the ceremony, unfortunately virtual, but next week on the 22nd. So I'll make sure we get the word out to everyone.
Thank you. Representative Mello Miller.
Thank you, Moderator Ebbin. And first of all, Dr. Graner, I want to thank you for being so transparent in the emails that we've been receiving for the Groton families regarding COVID exposure. I really appreciate that. And I think a lot of parents do as well. I did want to ask, I have to ask about the middle school. What are the chances of the middle school opening on Monday for everyone trying to plan?
100%.
So we'll be going back. For
Wait, let me give you my pandemic answer. As of today, it will open for sure.
Wonderful. And can you give me an update? Do you have an update on numbers concerning how many students are now distance learning? I know they're always in flux, but do you find more students going to distance learning?
A little bit more as these cases come in. It's about 25% right now.
And what was it at the beginning of the year? I'm trying to.
I can tell you, the high school started at 18%, and that is up to about 27 now. I think some of the schools have been pretty stable, but I can tell you at the elementary level, Catherine Kolnowski and Claude Chester have about 31%. So that's a little disappointing, because we think, of course, that the in-person learning, it gives children a better opportunity, certainly to interact with their teachers and their classmates and so forth.
Well, and I think at an elementary level, I want to applaud the teachers. The teachers are doing fantastic with the virtual learning. And one more question, if I may, just regarding your retirement. What stage are you in of retirement and moving on?
I was supposed to retire on Friday, but the board actually is going through the process of selecting a replacement. And so I told them I would remain until they get a replacement, which probably will be January 1st.
Okay, well, thank you so much for hanging on with us. And again, thank you so much for the emails that you've been sending out.
You're welcome.
Representative Fitzgerald.
Hi, Mike. Could we go back to the survey for a minute? And then I have another question.
Sure.
How many, you had 500 something parents respond, but how many children were accounted for within those 500 something parents?
I think about 850.
Okay. My second question, can you explain what the DoD funds are used for?
Well, they have been used, certainly in my 7 years, almost exclusively to provide technology for students, for laptop computers, for students, and in some cases for teachers. But it's really been a technology. The money comes in from the Department of Defense, really to support the children in understanding that the military, many military families are not paying taxes. So they provide this Department of Defense supplemental impact aid directly to the board, and the board has used it and almost exclusively for technology.
Okay, so you have a technology plan, correct?
We do.
And this is that DoD funds are earmarked for the technology plan. It's not some kind of slush fund or savings account.
Oh, no, no.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Representative Jones?
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and thank you, Dr. Graner, for everything that you're doing. My question has to go to the relief funding and the CARES Act funding. Looking at the Board of Education notes, I guess from the last meeting, those funds run out or have to be spent by the end of this year, December 31st. So is the money that we have going to extend into next year? Are we going to need hopefully get some additional funds, or what is the plan for January, February, March, et cetera?
Well, the CARES Act, again, I'm going to give you my pandemic answer. The CARES Act budget has now been revised 2 or 3 times. That's federal money. That was the money that was part of the big federal plan last spring, and we've been told we could use that to purchase computers. We then got we got a grant from the Dalio Foundation, gave us some computers because we wanted to simply have a one-to-one initiative. So what we've done, we've had to hire a fair number of temporary custodians, because we're cleaning the building. So there has been the need for extra personnel, and we've really pretty much earmarked that money for those individuals, for those expenses that are COVID related. We also hired 2 social workers, and so their salary up through December 31st can be paid for that with that fund.
So what happens after December 31st?
Well, we're hoping to take the CARES Act money and offset the expenses, like for the extra custodians, as well as all the substitute teachers. And we've had to hire a fair number of substitute teachers. So we're planning to use CARES Act money to pay for those substitute teachers, so that in the spring, when we need more substitute teachers, the board budget will be able to handle that.
Okay. So there'll be money in the regular budget moving from January forward, but we're going to use this money by the end of this year.
Yeah, we're doing everything we can to try to insulate the regular budget so that we don't need money as we approach the end of the year.
Okay. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Representative DeCillier Fleming?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. And first, thank you, Dr. Graner, for everything you're doing with steering our district through these somewhat crazy times that we're all in. I have a couple questions, so bear with me. I've heard from a couple of parents at the elementary school level that there's a disparity among the education that hybrid students are getting when they're home. For example, I've heard between Northeast and SB Butler. And I'm just wondering if you have heard those concerns about the amount of work students are getting in the Zoom schedule. And if so, what's being done to remedy that disparity between our elementary schools?
Yes, I have heard it. I keep trying to balance between 2 extremes, that not only between the schools, but even out of school, we receive a lot of communication from parents. And some of the communication is that the children are being overwhelmed by the amount of work, and they and the parents frequently can't keep up. And then in other cases, that they're not getting anywhere near enough work. And as I say, it's not so much between schools, it's actually within the school, but I think perhaps having to do with the ability of the student to be an independent learner, the parents, and there may be some discrepancies there. But the thing that we're really trying to do is make the expectation, make the instructional expectation very clear, so that we can explain it to the parents and explain it to the teachers. But I must say, as hard as everyone is working, the best way I could explain what happens is teachers, regardless of the level, teach all day, and then at 3:30, because 60% of the kids are at home on any given day, at least 60%. They've got a huge amount of correcting of assignments and just all the work you can imagine, the planning and correcting. So what we're trying to do is experiment as much as we possibly can. So there's been some good work with team teaching. So a 3-person team, which is pretty common in our elementary schools. One person might do math, one person might do writing, and one person might do literacy. And they actually do the live instruction to all 3 classes. So we're trying to split that up a little bit, and we're trying to become a little bit more uniform in what we expect from the children, what we expect in terms of cooperation from parents. But we know it's difficult for the teachers. We know it's difficult for the students. I've been doing lots of class visits, and we know it's extremely difficult for the parents. So I think part of that reflection is some people are a bit overwhelmed by what they're getting. Some people are doing quite well, and they may hear that other schools. I don't think, clearly the expectations are not different, but we meet every week. The principals and I meet every week, and one of the things I will share with them is what you just said. We want to be sure that we have reasonable expectations. We don't want kids in front of screens for 6 hours. I think what we've all agreed to, like 3.5 to 4 hours a day, is way more than enough of screen time. But that's the kind of expectation, and I think if we can be clear with our expectations, I think you're going to see more uniform instructional program across the district.
Thank you. And then just 2 more things, I promise. One is the question of if all students, elementary through high school, now have devices for their distance learning.
Yes, they do. We're fortunate. There is some pieces of equipment on back order, as you can imagine. The whole country is trying to order stuff, but we've been able to we've been getting a couple hundred Chromebooks a week. So I think at this point, the problem area that I know of is that we were hoping to get tablets, like iPads, for the kindergarten and grade 1 students, and I'm not sure that they're in. So I think those children are working with Chromebooks, which is not the best. It's okay, but not the best.
Okay, thank you. Just following up on that, I know parents at Butler haven't heard anything, so maybe just checking in on that, because I know there are still some parents trying to secure.
Okay, I'll talk to the principal. Thank you.
Okay, and then last thing, could you just explain, at least from what I understand, at the elementary school level, I think there's confusion about what the cohort is. It was explained as the days, but then at the elementary school level, we're also being told that the cohort is just their individual class. For example, the classes can't, the 2 second grade classes can't do recess together. So I'm just trying to get a clarification on what the cohort term is.
Well, there's the strict term, and then there's the difficulty of really doing it. So I'll give you the strict term. On cohort A on Monday, there we'll say 8 children in a class, in an elementary class. The teacher and the children and perhaps a para are in that class. the music, media, art, and PE teacher actually come to that class. So you might think of the cohort as those 8 children and maybe 3 or 4 teachers. The idea in a perfect world, the idea is that if somebody gets sick in that cohort, you know pretty much who they are. They're very confined. And then on Thursday and Friday, the same thing, another cohort. But where it breaks apart, frankly, is that children ride a bus. We can't cohort the buses. Children, in many cases, go out to recess together. But recess is outdoors, and all the epidemiologists that I have listened to a lot over the last couple of months indicate that if children are outside, even if they're not wearing masks, assuming they're not just sitting around and chatting, that's a very unlikely area to spread the virus. So what I told you about the middle school is a perfect example of where cohorting doesn't work. In the middle school, children have 4 classes on one day and then 4 classes the next day. So a total of 8 classes. And in some cases, they have little elective classes. So we know that the individual that I mentioned the first week of October at the middle school, the individual had access to 11 different classes. At the secondary level, there's no way to avoid that. But you can see usually when I make statements about elementary classes, it rarely requires very much contact tracing because the cohorts are so, relatively speaking, are so limited. And remember, a contact is someone who's been within 6 feet of someone for 15 minutes. So again, that's not very likely at a recess, and it's out of doors. So there are a lot of factors. I've come to appreciate all the various shades of gray. Every time we talk to the epidemiologists, almost the first few cases that we had, I thought, boy, isn't this unique? And now I realize every case is unique. But the basic concept of cohorting is to limit as much as possible. That's the first thing. The second thing that cohorting does that is hugely important is it limits the number of children to a room. So when we have 8 children to a room, you can imagine they really spread out quite well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Graner, and thank you for agreeing to stay on through January. And I did just get a text also asking to check about devices at Northeast. So if you could do that, I would appreciate that.
I will.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Representative DeCillier Fleming. Representative Fortner.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Hi, Dr. Graner. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. I know this has got to be a challenge. I had a neighbor ask me, because they read in the paper, about all the different schools and that they had this case or that case. And it's just said, it always just says, I don't remember the word, but it doesn't say whether it's a staff or a student. Right. And I obviously don't expect any names or because of HIPAA and everything, privacy. However, when this person asked me why, and this is all across our area, not just in Groton, why they say there was a case but they never say if it was a staff or a student. Can you just explain to me so I can share with my neighbor the reason behind that? Thank you.
The health officials have really asked us to be as clear with the public as possible, but to protect the confidentiality. So for me, the simplest way is if it's a relatively small school and we say it's a staff member, in quick order, you'd be able to figure out who that person was, and and the rumor mills start and all that sort of stuff. So to get around that, what I say is in my messages, we almost always I say, there's been a case, there's an individual, we've identified all the contacts to that individual. And what I say in my letter so far, it's worked, that we've already contacted everyone who's a contact. Meaning, if you didn't get a phone call, you're not a contact. So I know there's big anxiety about that, but I think the simple answer is we're just trying to protect the confidentiality, and as long as we can stay on top of this contact tracing, which is as you can imagine, especially at the secondary level, the contact tracing takes a fair amount of time. We have yet to go beyond 4 hours. However, we've gotten to everybody within 4 hours.
That is excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Representative Whitehouse?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So I just wanted to say, because as you recall, the last meeting I had some concerns, but I want to compliment you that now I've seen the plans in action. I've been very pleased. I actually, as the numbers started to spike, I started to talk to my wife and say, should we leave our daughter in the school? Should we maybe pull her home for full distance? But with the response I've seen, the contact tracing being as quick as it is, one of the scenarios we're worried about is we get that email that there's been a case in the school, and then we're waiting for the next 2 days on pins and needles. Do we get the call? Do we not get the call? But you've been so quick getting back to people, and I've just been really pleased, and I'm reassured by watching the plans in action. Great.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, glad to see what's going on, and that both the school and the Ledgelight have been good at getting information out, keeping us as informed as possible.
I'll tell you, regardless of the day of the week, weekends, regardless of the hour, we make the phone call, they pick up the phone. It's very impressive.
Yeah, that's great. And now if just people would start wearing their masks in the community and stop throwing parties, we could get our numbers back down and get things back under control, which would be great. But thank you very much for all the work you're doing.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Representative Casper?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Moderator. Dr. Graner, a couple questions. One, I happened to catch an ad from T-Mobile saying that they were providing hotspots for children who don't have internet. Have you heard about that, or have you had
Yes, we actually sent out we sent out a message to all the families yesterday. There is free internet for anyone who doesn't have internet, and we sent that out district wide, and we have the district back to the CARES Act. The district has purchased some hotspots, about 50, and that we've given to families, but I think regular internet service, cable internet service would be even better, and it is being provided free of charge to people who do not currently have it.
And my second question is related. These families that don't have internet and now are provided with laptops, is there any special instruction given to the family so they can help the kids?
Yes, we actually have a full-time during the day help desk. So we make it clear that parents and kids can call in, and it happens, and sometimes I think we swap out devices more than anything else. But the kids, as you probably can imagine, the kids are pretty good at this. But our help desk does provide regular support to parents on the devices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Representative Whitney? Oh, Representative Chase, excuse me.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Hi, Dr. Graner.
Hi, Kathy.
I'd like to go back to the DOD money, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because it brought up some questions for me when you were talking about it. You said it's used for technology and that you had a plan. Can you let us know what that plan is?
Yeah, it's really the one-to-one initiative. we buy about 350 laptop computers each year to give to the ninth graders. That's the bulk of it.
Okay, don't all the children have laptops now, though?
Well, they have, they don't have one. The elementary and middle school children don't have one that's assigned to them, not permanently. I mean, the pandemic is a little different, but the students at the high school actually have one, and they're expected to take it back and forth from school, because a good bit of the instruction is even when it's in person, a good bit of the instruction and their work assignments and their reading assignments are all on the Chromebook.
So so that when the ninth graders get a laptop, that follows them throughout their high school career, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And do they have that now with the CARES Act money?
Well, we haven't spent the CARES Act money yet, because, as I said, we've really earmarked it for some of the extra personnel. We do have the DoD money, and I think the board expects to use the DoD money as we had planned.
Okay. Did the district get Families First money?
That's CARES Act.
There's CARES Act and there's Families First. There's two separate.
So
maybe you didn't get that.
The CARES Act. The CARES Act is the money that came in April.
Yeah.
That's not Family First.
Well, there's two different. Well, I only know this because of where I work, but there's two different pots of money. Families First, it's called, and then CARES Act money.
I think
if you didn't get if you don't know about it, you probably didn't.
The CARES Act money was the money earmarked for education.
Okay. So do you know when you're going to buy those 350 laptops, and how much do they cost?
We have already purchased them.
Okay.
And we use the DoD funds. I think they cost about $350 a piece.
Okay. And can the DoD money be used for anything else? You said you use it basically for technology, but can you use it for anything else?
It could actually be used for anything.
Okay.
The trick with the money, I say as a retiring superintendent, is that you only get it if you have 20% of the children military dependents.
Right.
And and we're at I think 20.4. And so I've always been a little nervous that this grant that we rely upon for our technology plan would disappear. So I've always said to the board, if God forbid we lost the grant, we would at least have 2 or 3 years that we could wean ourselves away from this and pick it up in other parts of the budget.
Okay. All right, I think that's it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Representative Whitney?
Thank you. First of all, it's comforting to hear you'll be at the helm for another few months. And I have a comment and then a question. It seems you've laid out the benefits of a hybrid plan in terms of contact tracing quite well. It makes it quicker to do. You're able to have the social distancing in the classrooms and then the cohorting, at least at the elementary levels, and then reducing the cohort size even at the high school and middle school. So I think those are the clear benefits of the hybrid plan, even though, of course, there are big trade-offs from not having the students in school all the time. But I just wanted to remark that going back to a full in-person model, you lose those benefits. And at a time when we expect going into the fall and winter season that the cases may well continue to rise. Hopefully they don't, but that's something we anticipate.
Yes.
And then my question is, once there's been a case identified in one of the schools, do you have a sense for how much confirmed spread there is has been within the school community? My sense is it's not that much since we're hearing about a case here and there. I was wondering if you could comment on it since you clearly have much more information on it.
The student-to-student spread is very limited. We know that these cases are by and large arising from the community. And when we the positivity rate, thank God, is very, statistically is quite low. So we do, when we identify a case, we then figure out who was within that person, within 6 feet of that person for 15 minutes. And well, I don't want to jinx us, but almost every single time it's come back negative. So we have the case and then that other individual stays quarantined for 14 days with a negative test. But yeah, there has not been, thankfully, a case that we saw then spread through the school. We not we have not seen that.
Thank you. That's great to hear.
Yeah, that is terrific. Thank you. We have two more people who wish to speak. Representative Jean Shinbrot.
Hi, Dr. G. I'm very thankful. How you doing? I'm very thankful to hear that you're going to stay through January. I was going to put on my other hat and give you a call and kind of, suggest it, but I'm really happy to hear that. I just wanted to kind of toot your IT department's horn because I don't know that people know, but when this pandemic first started and everyone went to remote learning, a lot of people didn't realize that mom and dad can't work from home and the kids can't go on Zoom when you have 3 children all at the same time. So a lot of people came to get Chromebooks, and there really weren't enough Chromebooks in great shape. And your IT department took moderately broken Chromebooks and got them up and running and working really well. And that's kudos to your department. So just wanted to throw my...
I'll pass that on.
Okay, just wanted to throw my 2 cents worth in. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Frickman has already spoken and he wishes to speak, and that's fine, but I just want to ask if anyone who hasn't spoken or has a question for Dr. Graner would like to ask it at this point. And if not, Representative Frickman, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Moderator. It's real quick. It's actually a follow-up to Whitney's comment, really. So from what I heard in the state, there has been not a single case in the state of Connecticut of student-to-student transmission. And I wanted to clarify, that's also true for our own district, right? There has been one case of student-to-student, right? Okay.
Not that I know of, correct.
Okay, thank you.
I would imagine you're speaking of like, K-12, because I believe there probably has been at UConn.
No, yeah, K through 12, that's what I mean.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Graner. I don't know if you want to hang out for when we take the Finance Committee report, but
I'll stick around, sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your coming tonight. The next on our agenda is liaison reports, and I'll ask Representative Rusk to give the report for economic development.
Thank you, Madam Moderator.
I'm on.
I did submit my report. I'll run through it quickly. The Economic Development Committee continues to work on the Healthy Community Initiative for business outreach, which includes distributing masks and signs to businesses. And the commission members have said they've received a really positive response from the business owners. The Economic Development Commission supported 2 proposed changes to the tax increment financing policy. The first change would allow the master plan to move faster, requiring the town to submit the draft TIF master plan to planning and zoning 10 days before the public hearing rather than 90. In addition, the EDC would officially become the TIF advisory committee. The proposed changes still need to be heard by the town council. The EDC appointed new members to the Economic Assistance Fund Committee. The Economic Assistance Fund provides financial support for public infrastructure associated with new development projects, such as utility lines, sidewalks, road improvements, and traffic controls and street signs. Staff reviews all applicants first. The EDC hosted a plastic business forum on September 21st for local businesses to discuss the impact of the newly imposed plastic ordinance. And an overview of the ordinance was provided, as well as discussion on alternative products. The next EDC will be the next month, I'm sorry, the EDC will be discussing their year-end report as well as goals for 2021. As most of you know, phase 3 for the governor's reopening plan began October 8th. There was concerns noted by the EDC members about how to deal with the transition to returning to indoor dining with the uptick of COVID cases in New London County. Phase 3 allows for indoor capacity to increase from 50 to 75% and outdoor from 25 to 50%, and bars and nightclubs will still remain closed. A parking study has been launched in Mystic. Parking consultant John Burke has been hired to determine a short, medium, and long-term solution for the parking problems in downtown Mystic. Discussion continues on plans for the interior of the Pratt Building at the former Mystic Oral School, and plans for Groton Heights and the Gold Star Highway properties are moving forward. A preferred developer will provide a public unveiling of the proposed plan for Colonel Ledyard School on October 21st at 5 p.m. and October 24th at 10 a.m. on the school grounds. All are welcome. Proposals for the Pleasant Valley School property are due in on October 28th. Unemployment in Groton has decreased from 10.9% in July to 8.6% in August. Regarding opportunity zones, Groton continues to work with Advanced CT to partner investors with property owners to facilitate growth. An event is planned later this month. And Adam Wright, who is the Subbase Community Plans and Liaison Officer, reported that the military provided a great response to the U.S. Census. Actually, the whole town did. And overall, Groton has increased reported numbers in the last census. Due to the uptick in COVID cases, the subbase is moving to health condition C, and I know the commissary actually has closed recently. The Council of Government is conducting a parking and transit study in the city of Groton near Electric Boat, and that's it.
Thank you. So the meeting at Colonel Ledyard is in person, not on Zoom. Is that correct? With the developer?
That is correct.
Thank you. All right. The next that I have is Representative Cassieri. If you have anything for the town council.
I do.
Thank you.
The town council met virtually for the regular monthly council meeting on October 6th at 6:30 p.m. The council held 2 public hearings in regards to the change to the TIF policy and alteration of a scenic road. The council passed 2020-128. 2020-120-8, excuse me. Sealy School property, concept plan review, a resolution to approve the concept plan for the former William Sealy School property. The town has been marketing the former William Sealy School property for over a decade. The public hearing was held by the town council, and the sale of the property was authorized by the town council and not vetoed by the RTM. The town of Groton entered into an option to purchase for the eventual purchase of the property by Donmar Residential LLC on April 17, 2020. The condition of the option agreement, the developer had to submit a concept plan, proposed approval and construction schedule, description of requested technical assistance from the town, a list of submitted information requiring confidentiality, and a detailed description on how the development will complement the existing neighborhood and minimize lighting impacts to adjacent properties to the town council for review and approval. Donmar Residential presented the concept plan and supporting material to the town council at their COW meeting on September 22nd, 2020. The council also passed 2020-596-1 State Homeland Security Grant Program MOA, a resolution authorizing entering into a memorandum of agreement between the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, and Town of Groton. The Groton Town Police Department plans to utilize the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security grant funding to support regional set-aside projects. The memorandum of agreement and authorizing resolutions a requirement for receiving Homeland Security grant funds. The documents detail use of Homeland Security grant funds, and the admin of the Demas Region 4 details terms of custodial ownership of assets purchased with regional Homeland Security funds. Lastly, the council passed 2020-431-2 retiree COLAs, a resolution approving adjustments to retiree pension benefits, the pension agreements retirement plan for town of Groton employees in the non-union police AFSCME, GMEA, non-union USWA and GTA labor groups provide for a review of retirement benefits periodically, and the last adjustments were effective July 1st, 2018. Town council has considered information for all groups relative to the effect of a 1% increase on annual benefits, unfunded actuarial accrued liability, and town funding costs. The town council approved an increase of 1% for all qualified retirees. The next regular council meeting is scheduled for November 4th.
Thank you. Are there any questions? No. Representative Wells? Golf
Yes,
Advisory.
I have a report. If I can find it, where is it? Ah, there it is. The Golf Advisory Board met on September 14th and again on October 5th. And golf being played both outdoors and socially distant has enjoyed a bump during the pandemic. Nationwide, courses have seen a 20% increase over the summer and a 7% increase over the previous year. Our fiscal year ending June 30th saw a 14% revenue increase over the prior year and a 43% increase over the average of the 4 prior years. Our current July through September year to date experienced a 7% increase over the same period last year and a 34% increase over the average of the prior 4 years. They had been expecting a post Labor Day slowdown that just never happened. Things just kept going. The courts have become busy enough so that we've had to begin enforcing the limitation on the use of the practice areas to members and those who have paid green fees. Because of COVID-related travel issues, many of our usual members delayed their return to Connecticut. So the courts instituted a policy of annual memberships lasting 12 months from the date of purchase. And aside from accommodating those members, we had an unprecedented sale of memberships in September and October. This has the added benefit of snookering our rival courses who recruit members in the spring. Further COVID-related benefits are the 10-minute interval between tee times, which has improved the pace of play, and cleaning the carts after each use has meant they are much cleaner than they have in previous years. Golfers rely to a large extent on recommendations from other golfers. In our survey of players, most comment on the overall course condition and I lost my
Representative Wells, are you?
Yeah, well, I've lost it. My this floating keyboard it showed up in the middle of my. Okay, then another COVID benefit: reduced traffic at the airport has allowed us to schedule time to shoot promotional drone videos. Jessica Patterson, our community outreach coordinator, is filming 2 minute and some 30 and 60-second videos. One of the goals is to further dispel the notion that golfers are old dudes in +4s by showing a diverse and multi-generational players. 10 trees that a neighbor pointed out were in bad shape have all come down and have been replaced with 2 to 2.5 inch diameter red maples and hornbeams. This being settled will allow the neighbors to plan whatever landscaping they may feel appropriate for their property. Thank you. Sorry for that horrible interruption. If I knew how to make the floating keyboard disappear, I would.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Representative Fitzgerald, do you have anything from the Board of Ed? Representative Fitzgerald? Are you on mute?
There we go. Sorry about that. On the meeting minutes, you'll see I put October 13th, but that report isn't included because that meeting was last night. I haven't had the opportunity to write it up. Okay, this is Committee of the Whole meeting from September 14th. In Mike's report, he mentioned, he talked about GMS, Groton Middle School. He mentioned the punch list and the signing of the beam. The school opening went well. There were some hiccups, primarily with technology. He mentioned, okay, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee met. There were over 100 members that met this summer. There are 3 co-chairs and there are 8 subcommittees. They have a 5-year plan, which is
Representative Fitzgerald? We can't hear you. I think we've lost her.
the funds for are $704,000 for 2021 school year, and then the same amount for 21-22, but they're in danger of being withheld due to the edict from the state or the federal Board of Education that those funds will be withheld if we allow transgender females to participate in our sports teams. That is now at federal court, and the district has will abide by whatever that ruling comes out to be. I'm just checking to see what Mike has said prior that I don't need to repeat here. 200 document cameras for the staff have been ordered, and I assume they've been delivered by now. For fall sports, the first day was September 21st, where teams could meet together. Masks are required for all indoor sports for participants and parents that come and watch the games. Football has been canceled by the CIAC. They're considering a spring football season. Ledgelight Health District is happy with this plan. And they are going to limit spectators, and they will be required to provide contact tracing information. There is a discussion underway about what to do with the schools that will be closing. One of the suggestions was that Mary Morrison be considered for overflow and or use by the robotics team, a tech center, or an early childhood center, among other things. There was a finance report. The Alliance funding was approved for 2021 school year, but they have not been allocated due to the COVID closing of the legislative session. And local representatives are confident that the funding will be received. A budget timeline was developed. COVID supports the CRF, which is the Coronavirus Relief Fund, is giving the district $1,227,291 for academic student supports, health and safety, PPE, cleaning, and transportation. There's also another fund, the CARES Fund, that comes to $664,406. That includes substitutes, food service, building custodians, social workers, scientific calculators, software for distance learning, document cameras, and school supplies for home use. There was a regular meeting on September 28th. School openings, Dr. Graner reported that school openings are going well. Enrollment for projections for 2022 were reviewed with further discussion at a future committee of the whole. I mentioned that. That's fine. The Eastern Connecticut Conference is allowing 7-on-7 flag football. Susan Austin, the assistant superintendent, reported that they're in constant communication with Ledgelight Health District. Parent and staff surveys were reassessed to reassess the distance hybrid learning has been sent out. And right now they would, well, Mike covered that, okay. Covered that. Okay, the business manager, Ken Knight, reported that the object code summary as of, what was the date there? As of September 28th, the unexpended balance is $27,828. The COVID relief funding program will end December 31st, 2020.
Representative Fitzgerald, I think you're cutting out.
The GMS building is being completed, and I think Mike had mentioned that punch list. Okay, the following motions were read and accepted. There was a second reading of policy P1230, parent organizations and booster clubs. Second reading of policy P6172.6, distance education, and a second reading of policy P6114.81, emergencies and disaster preparedness. There's a first reading of policy 4118.237, and they combined that with another policy concerning face masks and coverings. They accepted the 2021 BOE schedule. They recognized National Custodian Day on October 2nd. They accepted the Groton Public Schools leadership profile for superintendent search. And they accepted the superintendent of schools evaluation and contract. They adjourned to executive session for that discussion about the evaluation and contract, and they approved, coming back from executive session, a retroactive 2% salary increase back to July 1st for the superintendent of schools, and that's it.
Thank you. Any questions? Representative Mello Miller, do you have a report from the Parks Advisory Committee?
No report.
Thank you. Representative Chase, do you have a report from the Town Council Board of Ed RTM City of Groton Liaison Committee?
I do.
Thank you.
So the aforementioned committee met on October 7th, and I will not read the Board of Eds because Dr. Graner did a much better job. So the Town Council report, they had 2 public hearings at the Town Council meeting on October 6th, one on the scenic road in Mystic and the other regarding minor changes to the TIF policy. Local businesses are being surveyed about the ramifications of COVID-19 on their businesses. First Selectman Cheeseborough will be meeting with the Town Council regarding the North Stonington Road Bridge, and the Town Council will be looking at road funding to bond or to CIP. The City Council report milling and repair of Route 349, which is the Clarence B. Sharp Highway, road work on Eastern Point Road to Pfizer, and the road diet study for Eastern Point Road to Chester Street, 2-way to 1-way to relieve congestion, also may have a bike lane. The RTM, a revote on student liaison participation after some revising of the RTM rules. Special committee researching civilian oversight of the police department should wrap up in November. The finance committee will give a report at the next RTM meeting on whether to pay $12,500 for repaving the pathway around the tennis courts at the high school. And the meeting was adjourned at 6:17.
Thank you. That is it for our liaison reports. If there are any questions of any of them, please speak now. And thank you all for those tracking those commissions and councils, etc. Thank you. The next thing on our agenda is the Civilian Oversight Research Committee report. Chairman Thomas, do you have a report to give or minutes to read?
Yes, Madam Moderator, thank you. I'm not going to go into the minutes. I just posted them and shared them around. They're rather lengthy. Take up everyone's attention span here. Real brief, we met since the last time I spoke with the RTM at large here. The court committee has met 3 times. On September 23rd, September 30th, and October 7th. And on September 3rd, it was a joint meeting with the Town Council Public Safety Committee. We met with the police chief and had a long, detailed discussion regarding possible models that would be agreeable and or disagreeable to the police department and the police administration. And the many details of that will go into the report and also are featured in the minutes. On September 30th, we met, just the Cork body, just the Cork committee met. We worked on the draft report and discussed our individual recommendations section and the overall consensus recommendations. And then on October 7th, we met in a joint meeting session with the Town Council Public Safety Committee. We met with the town manager, had a detailed discussion with him regarding possible models and legal parameters as far as like models that he thought might work and models that he thought might not work. So again, all those notes will be distilled into the report and also are featured in the minutes.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Chair Thomas? No. All right. Well, thank you very much. The next thing on our agenda is the Finance Committee, which took up the Fitch High School athletic facilities paving between the pickleball courts. Chair Washington, do you have minutes that you'd like to read?
Yes, I do. The meeting was called to order via Zoom at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, September 29th, 2020, by Representative Beverly Washington. Committee members present were Representatives Kathy Chase, Chase Foster, Bruce Flax, Sean Powers, Clarence Casper, and Roseanne Katowski. Also present were the Groton Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Michael Graner, and Town Clerk Betsy McAllister. Unfinished business, none. New business, 2020-565 2FYE 2021 CIP Fitch High School Athletic Facilities. The discussion. The meeting was called to discuss and possibly authorize the allocation of $12,500 of Capital Reserve Fund unassigned fund balance for a FYE 2021 Capital Reserve project entitled Fitch High School Athletic Fails. Dr. Graner stated that $300,000 was approved by the Town Council for resurfacing 6 tennis courts at Fitch High School. The low bid for the project was $356,000, and the Board of Education has allocated the additional $56,000 from their operating budget. The pathway between the 2 tennis courts also needed to be resurfaced. At the time the $300,000 was allocated, the Board of Education did not realize that the pathway between the tennis courts needed to be resurfaced. The cost of this work is $12,500. The work has already been done. In addition to the pathway resurfacing, 2 pickleball courts for PE class were constructed. These courts are also open to the community to use. Dr. Graner stated that if the $12,500 is not approved by the RTM, the school district is able to pay for the resurfacing of the pathway. Roseanne Katowski stated that if the Board of Education is prepared to take money out of their budget, They should. Representative Katowski questioned why the project came in over estimate. Dr. Graner responded, sometimes projects come in overestimate, sometimes projects come in underestimate. Estimates are estimates. Estimates come in higher than expected estimates came in higher than expected at Fitch High School because the school district waited 1 year to do the project. The school district does aim to get a good estimate. Representative Chase Forster thanked Dr. Graner for his work as superintendent of schools in Groton. Representative Kathy Chase stated she was not in favor of doing work before getting the money. Representative Chase stated that doing work before you get the money sets a bad precedent. Board of Education said they could pay the $12,500, so they should. She will be voting no. She's not in favor of approving money that has already been spent. It is not right to spend money first. No further discussion. Representative Chase read the resolution to approve $12,500 for the resurfacing of the pathway between the two tennis courts, seconded by Representative Forster. Those voting to approve were Representatives Casper, Powers, and Flax. Opposed, Representative Chase, Forster, Katowski, and Washington. Motion failed. Motion to adjourn made by Representative Chase, seconded by Representative Flax. Meeting was adjourned at 6:45.
Thank you.
That's it.
Would you like to make a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee dated September 29th, 2020.
Second, Adams.
Thank you. Someone, if everyone could turn their mics on mute because there's an echo. Thank you. We have a motion on the floor from Representative Washington, seconded by Representative Adams, to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting. Is there any discussion on those minutes? No? All in favor of approving those minutes, please say hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, those minutes are approved unanimously. Thank you. Do you have a motion you'd like to put on the floor, Chair Washington?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the $12,500 to resurface the pathway between the two tennis courts at Fitch High School.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion made by Representative Washington, seconded by Representative Casper, to basically authorize the allocation of $12,500 of capital reserve fund unassigned fund balance for the FY 2021 capital reserve project entitled Fitch High School Athletic Facilities. Is there any discussion on this?
Yes, please.
Representative Lauren Gauthier?
So just to be clear, so I had read the minutes and listened again to Representative Washington. This money has already been spent and paid for. And did I read correctly that Dr. Graner said that the Board of Ed had the funds to cover the expense?
Yes, you're correct. That's what he said.
So this would be essentially a reimbursement to the Board of Ed?
That's how I look at it.
Okay. But he did not say that that was necessary, that they had plenty of funds on hand to take care of it, correct?
Correct. Well, Dr. Graner is here, so he can answer that question if he wants to clarify it. But that's what he said at the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
If Moderator Ebbin, if you want me, I'm happy to.
Dr. Graner, if you'd like to clarify that. And I just want to tell, before you do that, the town clerk that looks like Representative Merritt is in the attendees department. So I don't know.
Move them over.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Graner, would you like to respond?
Yeah, sure. What basically what happened is we put in a project a year ago to really reconstruct the courts. Resurfacing is not quite adequate. We actually took the whole base of the courts out because they really needed major reconstruction. So in the process of doing that, when we waited a year, it came in higher than the $300,000 that we projected. And so I spoke to Mr. Burt, and we said that the board would be able to take $56,000 out of the budget to put it together with the $300,000 CIP money. And the work was completed. But what happened when the work was completed, it required a little bit more extensive construction than we thought. And so between the six, there are 3 courts on one side and 3 on the other. Between the courts, there was a pretty significant work that needed to be done to fix the pathway between those 2 courts. And the fellow who had done the work offered to do it. And of course, he was there and the equipment, and he had his asphalt equipment and so forth. So I mentioned it to the board, and the board said, well, look, if we have to pay for it, we think it's in the best interest of the town and the school to do it. So we told the fellow to do it. And I wrote to the town council indicating that what had happened, and that another CIP project from Northeast Academy had come in 40,000 under budget. So I just requested that work be done, and it was done. And so we proceeded to the town council, and the town council approved the money. I would hesitate to say we have plenty of money. We knew. I mean, I thought it was important that we do the work, and I thought it was important that we do it in the most economical way possible. And and the board understands that if the money needed to come from the board, then it will. But we thought in the interest of the town. We actually have a little pickleball league that plays there now, and they contacted us.
Thank you, Dr. Graner. So I just have one follow-up question then. Were these funds taken from last fiscal year, or are they coming out of that $12,500 that the board already paid? Was that paid out of the board's budget from last year, or is it coming out of this year's allocations?
It actually came out of the famous DOD funds.
Okay. Thank you.
They're normally used to buy computers, but they're
right. I understand. I'm just trying to find the need for the reimbursement, but thank you.
Representative Bailey.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I have a point of order. Chapter 9, Budget and Finance in the Town Charter. Section 9.1.3, Proposed Capital Project, and Section 9.6, both state, and 9.6 is financial powers of the RTM, and both state exactly, no capital project, regardless of method or source of funding, shall be undertaken until it has been approved by a majority vote of the RTM. And that's why I'll be voting no.
Thank you. I want to point out that I believe the threshold for being a capital project is $25,000. Mr. Burt, if you're still on, could you just confirm that? That's my memory of there is actually a definition, a financial definition.
I don't know if he's still on, but that is correct.
Thank you. So I think Representative Bailey, that while you are correct that no capital project in excess of 10,000 should be, or no appropriation in excess of $10,000 should be made without the RTM. This could be construed as not a capital project because it is under that threshold. But that doesn't necessarily get at your point with respect to 9.6. So I agree. I just want to clarify that. Thank you. Representative Chase?
Thank you, Madam. During the budget times, CIPs are the easiest thing to cut. And we do it quite often during the budget time. And this town is just like your home. If you don't keep up with the infrastructure, eventually it's going to cost a lot more money to repair. And the town manager and his staff are really good about keeping our mill rate increase very low or zero. And since we put off CIPs for so long, eventually we are going to be hit with a really hefty mill increase because we just can't put off repairing things anymore. With that being said, when there is a CIP that is approved at a certain dollar amount, and every department has to live within that means. Before it is decided to go over the approved amount and before the work is done, it must be decided how the increase will be paid for. It's not a good policy to approve work and then try to get reimbursed for it. This does not make good business sense. Dr. Graner said he can pay for it. He has a fund that has been accumulating since I have numbers since 2016. $230,860 in 2016, $285,800 in 2017, $260,159 in 2018, $261,005 in 2019, and $369,015 in FY20. $295,734 was spent in 2020, which brings that down to that whole total actually was $1,406,839. Subtract the $295,734, you get $1,111,105. If you subtract the $12,500 that he's asking for from the town, he'll still have over $1 million. And then earlier in the evening, he said he wanted to buy 350 laptops at about $350 each for ninth graders, which I'm assuming they don't need it this year, but I could be wrong. I heard everybody has their computers, which adds up to $122,500, which will bring him just under $1 million left. So this DOD money is accumulating year after year. This is what I was trying to find out what the plan was. So, I just want to reiterate, it's not a good policy to spend money that has not been approved prior to spending. Even though $12,500 is not a lot of money, it all adds up and can be used for approved CIPs. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Fitzgerald?
Thank you. Dr. Graner, can you tell us what your unexpended?
You have to lean into your mic. It's not picking you up, Representative Fitzgerald.
Hello?
I can't hear you, Representative Fitzgerald.
Sorry, my computer went out for a second. Dr. Graner, can you tell us what your unexpended balance is right now?
I think it's about $27,000.
Okay, and what just to confirm the numbers that Representative Chase just mentioned, how much is your DOD balance to date?
I'm not 100% sure, but as I said before, I always like to be sure that it's probably near $1 million. Okay. But I always, as I said before, I think it's prudent to have at least 3 years to The board has not gone and spent that money. We usually only spend that which we get in on a given year to kind of keep that cushion for ourselves.
Okay, one more thing. Could you please send us what more specifics on what the IT plan is? Because it's not
Sure.
just computers.
Right, sure.
Thank you.
Dr. Grenier, were you going to respond to the IT plan or were you just going to email it to us later?
I thought she said yes. I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you. Representative Casper?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd like to point out that this paving of this small paving that went on was part of a larger project to redo the tennis courts. And it was cost effective to do it while the contractor was there. If the contractor, I'm sure that if the contractor or a contractor had to come back to pave this small section, it would have cost a lot more if in fact you could get someone to do it.
That's very true.
Thank you, Representative Casper. Is that it? Okay, seeing no hands, are we ready to have a vote on this? I guess we are. We have a motion on the floor that was made by Representative Washington and seconded by Representative Adams. And that's a resolution authorizing the allocation of $12,500 of Capital Reserve Fund unassigned fund balance for the FY 2021 Capital Reserve Project entitled Fitch High School Athletic Facilities. Town Clerk McCousha, should we do it as a roll call vote, do you think, or can we just do aye and nay?
I think that you probably can do, well, I don't know. Let's I
We
really
can try it. We can say all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Maybe raise your hands if you're a no.
If you're aye, you can raise your hand.
I'm sorry, are we raising our hand for no or aye? And also Representative Gauthier, Dave Gauthier and I are.
Yeah, why don't we do a roll call vote?
Point of order.
This requires a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought. This is not working. You can all mute yourself now. Thank you.
When I call your name, unmute yourself and say yes or no or abstain. Adams?
No.
Bailey?
No.
Please mute yourself until you're called. Baker?
No.
Casper?
Yes.
Kasari? Yes.
Chase?
No.
Dean Shinbrot?
Yes.
Priscilla Fleming?
Yes.
Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Flax?
No.
Fortner, Cindy?
No.
Foster?
No.
Frickman?
No.
David Gauthier?
No.
Lauren Gauthier?
No.
Hayline?
Yes.
Jones?
No.
Mello Miller?
Yes.
Merritt?
Abstain.
Powers, Kristen?
Yes.
Powers, Sean,
Yes.
Richards,
No.
uh, Jason Rusk,
No.
Jill Rusk,
No.
Sharkey,
Yes.
Stevenson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Washington,
No.
Watson,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes.
Whitehouse,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Ebbin,
No.
that's tied.
Ah,
Gustafson, you didn't call me.
tie fails, I believe.
Yes, it does.
You didn't call Rep. Gustafson.
Oh, I didn't realize you were here. We have 34.
It'll be a yes for me.
Gustafson. A yes for Gustafson. Okay, so that's 17 yes, 16 no, and 1 abstention.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
17 in favor, 16 opposed, and 1 abstention.
Thank you. That motion passes. Thank you very much. All right. So thank you, Dr. Graner, for coming in here and shepherding us through that and answering our questions. The next item on our agenda is budget discussions. If anyone would like to bring any issue up at this point, budget related. Representative Flax?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. This is somewhat budget related and crosses over. I was talking to Representative Katowski, who was hoping to send a referral to the rules and procedures, and bear with me because it has to do with budget. And it's about rules and procedures to consider a mechanism or procedure within the RTM meeting process to allow for a party caucus and points of order. Right now, neither party caucus or points of order can be included in the Zoom meeting process that we're aware of. And I'm hoping that the Rules and Procedures Committee can come up with something so that the parties are able to caucus, especially during budget sessions. Also to enable a member to call a point of order. And so that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel that people do call points of order all the time, so I'm not sure that that is true, but certainly it is difficult to caucus. There are breakout rooms, I believe. To my mind, this request is less of a rules and procedures request and more of a technological request that we might make to the town manager and the town clerk to see if they can work out the logistics of this. I don't believe our rules need to be changed.
That's fine. I think that I would take your advice, and but I think the problem with the breakout room is that the moderator can attend, I think, but I'm not technologically sure, so I'm sure that the town manager can fill us all in at some point.
I'm not entirely sure either. So I would like to
I can answer that if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
Okay, right now, the way it's set up, the caucus for the Democrats has been separate. So Representative Mello Miller does that on her own. And I was assuming that you, Representative Flax, were doing it for the Republican caucus.
That's correct.
Okay, so those are, no one else can go into that except who you invite. So I don't know how that'll work for the budget though, because you do need to, you need to do it. We're going to have to ask the IT people. We might have to get a separate account for RTM to do that. Probably 2 accounts, because right now we have 1 account for the town, and that's why if we have a meeting prior to the RTM, like we did this evening, anybody could bounce into it. From the RTM, I mean. There was a separate meeting at 6, I think it was at 5:30 actually, and but that was on the same the same invitation as the RTM meeting. So if you happen to just try to get into that meeting, you could have. Not that it would matter. It's public. It's open to public, but caucuses certainly are not. So I'll have to see if you can. I don't think you're going to want to have your own caucus running simultaneously. If you had your own Zoom meeting, Representative Flax and Representative Miller during the budget sessions. But maybe in the spring we'll be in one room and we won't have to worry about it. Yeah, back at the senior center. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, just having taught, being a professor, I know we use WebEx, and WebEx now has breakout room capabilities. Certainly there's Google, what is it called? Microsoft Teams. And so there are these functions that we could either see if Zoom has something within it that could have this, which I agree is a useful function, or if we would need to run some other thing in parallel, whether it's another Zoom account or 2 other Zoom accounts plus or another kind of software. So I think I would like to ask before we send it to a committee, I would like to just ask the town clerk to inquire with Lisa Hilton and perhaps the town manager into the logistics of this.
Madam Moderator, point of clarification.
Representative Mello Miller.
Thank you. And Town Clerk Makowsker, from my understanding, it was for the caucus chairs that we were already able to call caucus during budget hearings, and that the assumption was we would just call into a Zoom room. So is the question that we need to write it into the rules that we can officially do so?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that part of the question. Any member of the floor of the RTM, regardless of the party, floor leader, can rise and call for a caucus, and you have to do it. It's just that is in your rules. That's in your rules.
It's already in the rules. So I think this is more of a logistical or technological question. Did you have another point, Representative Mello Miller?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. That was just the question.
Thank you. Representative Fitzgerald?
Yes, when you get that information from IT, can you ask them what the cost would be for two more Zoom contracts or agreements?
That's my intention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Gauthier-Lauren?
I think I understood Representative Kotowski's question, just to be a clarification of how specifically the virtual meetings would handle the situation, not necessarily the rule itself. I think we all know that you can have these breakout caucuses, but as I understood, she was just looking for a clarification on how we're handling that virtually and have an official rule written to handle it so we can all understand and reference back.
Yeah, I don't think that is necessary. As you heard tonight, Representative Bailey called a point of order, I think at least twice. And so with hand signals and with interjecting verbally, I think we're fine. I think the rules, that I don't think that this is that much different. So I think, you would, if you wanted to have a caucus, you would raise your hand and you would be recognized, and you would
move to a breakout room.
Yeah.
Okay. I had never done that, and I don't think she had either. I think the other concern she had is she typically calls in instead of uses a video interface. So I'm not sure how that would work with the breakout rooms.
No, so I do believe it's more of a technological challenge, and certainly it may be her full participation, with a video may be precluded. She might have to dial in on another number, or kind of communicate with someone in a different way. So that's I just wouldn't want to have that run through the Rules Committee, because I think it's a kind of an exceptional issue, and hopefully all of this is exceptional and will go away at some point soon. But thank you. Representative Bailey? Representative Bailey? You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I was thinking if it's possible, I'll give it another thought perhaps, is that the floor leaders, the two separate floor leaders have their own accounts and only have to verify through a receipt presented to the town clerk for reimbursement. Is that a possibility so they could run their own caucuses perhaps? Because it was like that, well, in a way, when we were situated in the Groton Senior Center, we had the two classrooms and they were afforded for caucuses. So if we're in a Zoom situation, the floor leaders could run their own caucuses and then present a receipt for reimbursement separately. Is that possible?
You know, Representative Bailey, Zoom is free for the first 45 minutes, and I would hope that we would never have a caucus that would exceed that amount of time. So I think we can work something out. I don't know if it'll need to entail reimbursement, but certainly I think that Town Clerk McCousher will have that on the table. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Representative Adams?
Excuse me. Yes, thank you, Madam Moderator. In reference to the breakout rooms, I also, in order to be able to speak, am on the telephone. And so I have to get out of one Zoom to be able to call in and log into another. So, I mean, if this were, quote, breakout rooms during budget season, I would have to leave the RTM Zoom meeting, call in to get into the caucus, and then get out of the caucus and try to get back into the Zoom meeting. It's, you know, a pain.
Well, you know, I think, could you please put yourself on mute?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I get very thrown by the echo. I think, you know, hopefully this isn't, you know, Zoom meeting format doesn't last a whole lot longer. So, I mean, I understand and appreciate that everyone has, you know, issues with their computer, their bandwidth, their connectivity. And I think we can all see how difficult this must be for all the students out there, just experiencing it ourselves. So I think we'll try to make this work. I think, you know, I think that there will be issues like yours, Representative Adams, and perhaps Representative Katowski's situation, which may need extra thought, but I certainly still don't think it needs a rules change. So I think it's really a technological question that we're posing, and it sounds like the town clerk is going to explore this with Lisa Hilton and the town manager and see if we can get it to work. Are there any budget issues or other business? Have we addressed all these issues? If we have, I'm willing to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Anybody have any questions though regarding the upcoming election?
Sorry, can everyone mute except one person? Was that Representative Fitzgerald?
No, it was town clerk. That was town clerk.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was just offering if anyone has any questions regarding the upcoming election procedures and so forth.
Representative Fitzgerald?
Yes, when will we get the budget meeting schedule?
We usually get that in February.
Great, thank you.
Or March, actually, probably March is more likely.
Well, more like April. Well, you have to remember, you have to organize committee sub meetings along with council committee of the whole. It's a very large, arduous task, but you will have the budget in March, second week of March.
Are there any questions about the upcoming election? I want to thank the town clerk for, you know, getting all those absentee ballots out. You've done a great job. Thank you. I hear someone is interjecting.
I had a lot of help.
That's good. I'm glad, but you know, it's more important than ever to vote and to also ensure the integrity of this. And I think you do a great job. So thank you.
Thank you. And if anybody needs any advice, you all know how to find me.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
I have a question for Betsy.
Representative Baker?
Yes, is there a place to put absentee ballots outside of the town hall?
Yes, there are two locations right in front of the town hall against the building nearest to the ramp for the handicap ramp. There's an official ballot box.
Okay.
And there's also a crop of mailboxes. I'm sure you're familiar with. There's the post box, there's a green town clerk box, a probate box, and then a UPS box. You're more than welcome to put things in there too. I check those boxes 3 to 4 times a day, sometimes more. And we also have a drop box inside the town hall. A lot of people just come right in and they feel better about doing it inside. So there's another official ballot box right outside our door.
Okay, thank you, Betsy.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Representative Frickman?
Oh, nope. Just wanted to make a motion to adjourn. That's all.
Bailey, second.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn. Representative Frickman. It's seconded by Representative Bailey. I think it was seconded by someone else, but Bailey is who I heard last. So all in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, this meeting of the RTM in October is adjourned. Thank you so much. Please be well, stay safe. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.